Hey, this is the first in a series of videos that kind of go over this project. This week we're really going to dive into um, the technical aspects of the camera and talk about the pieces, and still focusing on, the main ideas of composition, and framing, but we're really going to look at the camera in a technical way. We're going to talk about the lens, how that works, how the camera body works, the shutter, and a couple of other things to kind of get us more familiar with it. So I have a couple PowerPoints. There'll probably be another one. But let's look at this project and just kind of read through it. And I'll talk mostly about this first technical part using the gray card. So for this week, you need your camera and you need your gray card. Okay, so part A, the moment of seeing. So part A, again, is going to be 36 exposures. And for that, I want you to set your white balance to daylight. Almost, all of this should really be done outside. So let's look at this here. Oh, also, I'm going to set your ISO to 200. Okay. So the gray card. Okay. The gray card, in like kind of dealing with the camera, the first thing that like makes it work, like how do you make it happen, should be using the light meter. So we're going to use the gray card to kind of see how the light meter works. So the reflected light meters in your cameras are designed to give you correct exposures when you meter a gray card, or a scene whose tonal values average out to the tonal value of a gray card, so middle gray. So choose a scene with a good range of tonal values. Example, the light side of a building with dark bushes in front of it. That you might feel average out to middle gray. And then make this sequence of 6 images. Alright, so let's break that down a little bit. So when you point your camera at anything in the world, you're just kind of walking around and you're set in manual mode, which means you're going to make all the technical adjustments for the camera. So when you point your camera at a scene, like a picture you're going to take, it doesn't know exactly it doesn't know what you're pointing it at. So it's kind of assuming that you know how the light meter works. Okay? So the light meter in your camera is going to give you a suggested setting for an exposure. Okay? And it all kind of depends on like what your ISO is. Okay? So what like your film speed is. So we're going to have ours set to 200. Okay? So it's going to be less sensitive to light. Okay, so the lower the number in your ISO, the less sensitive. Okay, but you do get smoother pixels with that. So the higher number, like 1600 or 3200, the more sensitive it's going to be. Okay, so again, that's like something we'll cover more. Just trust me. So we set our ISO. Now we're going to have, when we're walking around, we're going to set our, say our f-stop, our aperture, to about like, I don't know, 8 or 10 or 12 or 16, whatever you got there. And we're going to point the camera at something. Okay? So when we point the camera at it, we're going to gently push down, not all the way, on our shutter, and that's going to give us a little meter reading. Okay? And it's going to say like it either needs more light or less light, or you're just kind of lucky. Okay? And it's like, hey, you got the perfect amount. Okay? Again, you're going to be setting your f-stop and your shutter together. Okay? So, step 1 is take a reading using your camera's light meter. Make an image with those settings. Okay? So you want to get like the little dot like right in the middle. Okay? And I'm going to have another PowerPoint that kind of really goes over these settings or how to like kind of do these in your camera. So now insert a gray card in this scene. Meter the gray card. All right? Allow it to fill the entire frame of the camera. So you're just going to kind of hold the gray card, you know, in front of your camera lens and like gently push down on the shutter to get a reading. And it should be the same. Okay? So for 1 through 6, you're not going to see a lot of difference here in step 1 and 2. Open up one stop from the reading obtained in step 2. Okay? So opening up, all right, means like letting more light in. Okay? So if you were at f8, you're going to go to like f5.6. So typically with digital cameras, you go like 1, 2. All right. Open up 2 stops, number 4. All right. And then 5, stop down from reading 2. So you're going to go back to this, what this was, and you're going to let less light in, and you're going to see, so 3 and 4, the picture should get brighter, and steps 5 and 6, the picture should get darker. All right. Now, repeat this for 7 through 12, finding a scene that has tonal values that average lighter than middle gray. Okay, example like a light wall without any dark objects in front of it. Okay, so something bright. And then find a scene that's 13 through 18, and you're going to do all these steps again of middle gray that's darker than middle gray. So like a dark wall. Okay, now it's not, I'm not saying like go out at nighttime, but just find something that's like dark. All right, and I'm going to have some examples of that too. All right, now, so with these, what we're trying to do is we're trying to like trick the light meter, okay? So when we point the camera at something that's like a bunch of white, okay, like a white building with a bright sky, you're going to see between steps 1 and 2, you're going to see a big difference, okay? So when I do step 1 with the light thing, I'm tricking my camera because it doesn't know what I'm pointing it at. Okay? It just assumes that the scene has average values. But then I put the gray card in, okay? And that should be a corrected exposure, okay? So you should see a jump. All right. So I'm going to have a separate PowerPoint that covers that. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit here, okay? The purpose of this is to determine, like, 1, how well your meter works, and it should be working fine. And 2, to get a feel for what scenes tend to average out to middle gray and which do not. Okay, in which case you might have to correct the meter reading by decreasing or increasing. Sorry, I did that backwards. And if you want to absolutely be sure you get a good exposure, you can use your gray card. All right, so frames 19 through 27. Again, we're in manual mode. Make 9 images that pay special attention to the frame. Think of the frame as a pointing device, a way of telling the viewer this is what the photograph is about. Consider every part of the frame and how its contents direct the eye. If you have typically placed your subject in the center, try moving it off like a rule of thirds. In addition, think about what's happening at the edge. Maybe what's getting cut off. The frame allows you to edit what you're seeing. Okay? Does the information in the background conflict with the foreground? How do you eliminate or exploit this? Think about Robert Frank. Okay? I'm going to have a separate PowerPoint. We just kind of go over him. A separate video, sorry. Point of view. Think about, again, switching views. Getting at different angles. Try, photographing from the ground level, or from a balcony. Try getting very close. Okay? Make it feel maybe uncomfortable. Okay, again, think Robert Frank. We're going to look at him this week. Part B, you're going to use 36 exposures, set white balance to daylight. Again, ISO set to 200. Depth of field, okay? We're going to be thinking about depth of field. How does that work? For part B of this assignment, we're going to explore the effects varying apertures. All right, what do these apertures mean? Okay, some people call them apertures, some people call them f-stops. It's up to you. For these exposures, you'll set the aperture first and then use the meter to adjust to the appropriate shutter speed. Try large apertures. f2, 4, 5, 6, mid-range, f8, 11, small, 16, 20. You may not see the difference at first through the lens, but you will see it when you download and definitely when you print them. Last options here. So these are options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can pick and choose. All right. You're only going to do 3 of these 5. I have that right here in bold. All right. So the moment. Option 1, 6 images that stop the action at the right moment. Consider shooting as fast as 5/100th of a second. Okay? See what happens. 6 images that experiment with very slow shutter speeds, say 1/4 of a second. Okay? Try to blur the action. Maybe have someone run back and forth. Okay? 6 images that pan a moving object. I'll go over what that is in a second. Okay? 6 images made at night. Try handheld. Try shutter, slow shutter. 5, put the camera on a tripod. Try long exposures at night. See what happens when you do a 30-second, a 1 minute, a 2 minute. So these 5 options here, again, you're only going to pick 3 of them, are for you to like really experiment. Okay? Plan to show 6 images as a Lightroom slideshow. This week we're going to cover Lightroom. You're going to pick 1 of your best from the frame, 1 of your best from point of view, 1 of your best from depth of field, 2 of your best from the moment, and then 1 of your choice from like any category. Okay, you are going to submit them all in a zip additionally as contact sheets on Blackboard. So you are going to hand in everything. The gray card part, it's not like an aesthetic thing, okay? It's just a technical thing. But I want you to do it, and I want you to organize the images and hand them in. So on a contact sheet, there should be 6 images that show part 1, 6 images that show part 6, 6 images that show the lighter than middle gray, and the 6 that show the darker from middle gray. Okay, and again, I'm going to show you how to organize that too. Okay, this should be fun. Okay, so next video, I'm going to talk, we'll go over Robert Frank, and then the next one, I'm going to break this down, the technical part, and then I'm going to break down the camera as a whole. Okay, so it's a lot of material to cover this week.